Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to this week's episode of GCC's Georgia Chiro Connection. I'm your host, Dr. Kathy, and today's guest, coming from Evans, Georgia, which I just found out where that is, Dr. Beth Flack. Hi, Doc. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Very good. Very good. Thank you for the geometry lesson, teaching me where things are in the state and,
No problems. No problems.
Yeah, being that their geology, we're good. I got it all figured out. So I love that you've been practicing down in Evans, which is by Augusta. So kind of like that southeast area of Georgia, but you've been down there for the last 15 years?
13. I did 3 years up in Dalton, Georgia. So
Okay.
did an associateship up in Dalton before I moved down here.
Okay. And one of the things I love to ask people, because there's students that will watch this, is what was it like when you made the decision to, break out on your own, or when you just kind of made that decision that this is a time for me to make a change in my life and my practice?
It was scary. I will not lie. When I moved down here, I did do an independent contractor for a few years. And then the doc said, you're done. I don't want kids in my office anymore. So he was like, you got to go. And I was like, okay. And it was a great kick in the butt that I needed. So first month was scary, but after that, it's been wonderful. It's my own space. I can do what I want with it. This is a nursing room I'm sitting in today. So I got to make a nursing room for moms, and I would have never had that where I was. So it's pretty cool and awesome.
If the doc had never pushed you, would you have stayed?
Probably not. Probably.
Okay.
I was getting ready myself to say, okay, he probably pushed me maybe 6 months to a year earlier than I wanted to, but I would have outgrown the space. So,
and I think a lot of times when we talk to docs here, we hear that you get to a certain point where you've outgrown the current situation, and making that decision to change, that's a big decision, because for a lot of people, once you put your roots down in a practice, the thought of moving it even a mile down the road is kind of scary. And it's like, do I really want to go through all that again? Especially if you're moving, from Dalton to Evans, that's a big difference. If you decide to change your practice situation or move your practice, it's a lot more work than most people anticipate.
Yes, especially like building out an x-ray room and then making sure it's calibrated and all that. I do have plans to move in the next 2 to 3 years. So hopefully I can anticipate or talk to some docs who have moved their practice to a different location, but we'll outgrow this space in 2 years, 3 years max. So we'll do it again.
That's a great problem to have. That means you're
Absolutely.
impacting your community. You're having a great effect on, your patients and the lives of lots of families.
Yes.
Nice. So one of the questions I like to ask people is, how do you lean on philosophy and the principles of chiropractic? Because, every day is not perfect, and we don't have people walking in saying, I want vivification of my cells, or I'm here to get my subluxations checked, or, I want to make sure that I'm functioning from above down, inside out. It would be wonderful if that was the world we lived in.
Yes.
Right? And maybe if we keep educating chiropractors and keep educating the patients and the community, maybe we'll get there someday. But right now, we're not quite there yet.
Right.
So how do you, on those days where people are coming in with everything but, what you want or what you hope for them, how do you stay focused? How do you stay grounded?
I'll tell you, this wasn't even a thought on my radar, Dr. Kathy, like a year and a half ago. I just went through the grind and did it. But I've gotten connected with DE recently. I've been going to them for about a year and a half and connecting with those buddies, and I'm making more relationships, and doing the Monday night calls, Band of Brothers, really helps me build my cup. So that way I can share that with patients and practice members as the day goes on. And it keeps my level of energy up to give it to them. So having those connections outside of the office really helps in making those better friendships, to make sure that my cup is full and I have that principle on my heart on a daily basis. And then just talking to them, educating them, and table talk is one I'm really working on right now. So still has a lot of room for growth on that, but working in that direction. So
that's why they call it a practice, right?
Right. Exactly.
And I feel like that's a big thing is anytime I talk to a chiropractor who's thinking that they're an island and they're out there doing it on their own, and they think they're the only one that gets it, or the only one that's talking about this, and they're struggling because they don't have a community. Yeah. And you tend to get lost. You tend to forget what you started going down this pathway for in the first place. So staying connected really seems to be the big answer for everyone that I've ever had the pleasure of talking to.
Yes, I'm so glad that I'm getting in and getting, as they call it, dipped and being around those like-minded people, because I had lost it and was just going through the grind, and it wore me out. So I've never taken time away from being a chiropractor, but if it hadn't stepped in, if that opportunity hadn't shown up, I might have gone that way of like, I got to take a step back. So I'm super glad I haven't.
Yeah. You know, if you're watching this, whether it's live or the replay, GCC does events all the time, and GCC combined with DE, they both do events. But we've got an event coming up, which is our Cinco de Cairo, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the premise behind it really is to get you around other like-minded docs, right?
Yeah, I saw that on Dr. Chu's talk last time, and I was a little sad. It's a social event, is what I hear. My daughter's in social here of dancing, and that's the night she's going to do her big dance. So I will catch the next one next year and make sure that I am on that there for that one. So
absolutely, and it goes for, it can be as easy as going to lunch with a chiropractor in your community, just to kind of like, right, get the craziness of the world off of you, wash off the icky stuff, and remember what we do and why we do it and who we serve, and how we serve really matters.
Yes, absolutely. I love doing that. So,
well, one of the things that I love to do is hear the miracle stories, the testimonials, the stories that would not have happened if it wasn't for chiropractic, the different experiences that all the docs that we've had the privilege of bringing on here have had to share. And I know that you've got some pretty amazing stories to share with us today.
Yeah. I have to say my favorite one recently was, I had a little 3-year-old come in and she wasn't talking anymore. She just all of a sudden stopped. I don't think it was related to anything that she put into her body or was forced to put into her body. It was just mom saw a regression happen. And so she brought her to us, and I was super excited to see her. And we adjusted her. We adjusted her frequently as we could, because she drove about 40 minutes to see us, and just loved on her spine, made sure she was clear. And she started getting her talk back. She was able to communicate more, and you could just hear it change, like from mumbles to words, to one word, to a few words, to sentences, to things. So mom's like, I can hear my daughter say, I love you again. And grandma said that too. And it's just, that's what keeps me going. You asked me what keeps me going. That's what keeps me going. But I'll tell you, Dr. Kathy, a couple of years ago, I probably would have been like, okay, what reflexes do I have to integrate? Where do I have to go? Is a gut okay? Do we have to do this? And I don't mind doing that later on, but I'm focusing on Chiro right now, focusing on adjusting them, and adjusting her is what helped. It wasn't anything else that we added in. She wasn't doing PT, OT, ST, any of that. She just came and got adjusted. And I think that is just a testament to chiropractic and how amazing it is, and just really get your heart going. So that's my favorite one recently.
I think that is an amazing story, because as a mom, if I couldn't hear my children's voice, that would just be heartbreaking. Like, to be able to hear them say they love you again, like that just melts my heart.
She made a little t-shirt that said chiropractic saved my daughter. So I just love it. I'm like, tear down the eyes. And we took a little video on my Facebook page of like mom's testimony, and it was really cool. So I was super happy to help that family, and chiropractic to help that family.
Now, you said something interesting that I don't want to just brush over. I want to go back and talk about it. You said that they were driving 45 minutes to see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she and mom now comes as well. So they come from town just a little bit away from us, and they make that trip in. I believe grandma lives up here, so it's kind of like they're coming, but they come in a little early, so that way they can come in, get adjusted first thing in the morning before they start their day of work. But it's a trip. So, and people, when you've got things to serve, you've got the ability to clear an atlas, clear a nervous system, they'll drive. They'll drive for 45 minutes. They'll drive for an hour to come and see you. So I feel very blessed for that.
And you are, but so are they. And I will say this, that didn't happen by accident. They didn't stumble upon your office. They didn't just set out to drive one day and drive past 32 other chiropractic offices and just randomly popped up at your door. There's a reason that they came up to your place. And it wasn't because you had a nice sign out front of your building. There's a reason. And my guess is it's because of what you've done for your community. It's because of the patients talking about you. It's because of the the impact you've had on people. I'm guessing they were probably referred by somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe it was a Facebook thing. Facebook is a really great thing for us. We do a lot of pediatrics and pregnancy, so we're always posting about that. And then my website has a picture of a clubhouse in the middle of my office, so it's very kid friendly. So I think that helps a lot of parents be like, oh, she's really trying to cater to the kids and make sure that it's a kid friendly space. So whether I'm adjusting on an adjusting table or in my playhouse, I've adjusted in our what we call glorified baby jail. I'll get down and on the floor with the kids anywhere they need to be to check their spines. So
I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, we have time for you to share one more story. Do you have another story you want to share? Because I know you have a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
One more.
I have one more. I just started a young lady, baby, about 3 months. Mom said that she was crying every time she tried to move her. Very colicky baby, not pooping, but I mean, like just moving her from like sitting down, laying down to picking her up from like the swings, baby would cry. And I think she's been adjusted 3 times now. And she is just the happiest little girl. She is not screaming every time you move her anymore. Mom's like, I don't know what you did, but we love it. Like, I don't get it yet, but I'm like, we're only 3 visits in. So there's not been a lot of fabulous talk yet, but she's like, I'm coming soon, as soon as like she's got 2 daughters in starting initial care. So, but she's like, these 2 kids, they're 2 different people than they were 3 adjustments ago. So again, the nervous system, just when it's not happy, it's not happy. And those babies express it really well. And then when you take that pressure away, you let that nervous system flow, you let that energy flow, they express something very different, a love instead of that colic. So
it's, I love that you shared that story because it's so true. In Hollywood, they say don't work with babies and dogs or something like, animals and babies, but animals and babies are the ones that will tell you the truth immediately, right? They will respond. Yeah.
That little dog will shake its tail when it's gotten an adjustment. It'll be like, oh, okay. Yep. Oh, reset.
So it's so true. They kind of like shake it off like, oh, okay, I'm better now. Yeah. For some reason, I think it's always funny that, you give the babies an adjustment and then either they start tooting or they start loading up their diapers, right? And we had that happen with like 3 in a row this morning.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're stinky. You're done. Here you go. We're good. Your nervous system's back on. We're on parasympathetics. That sympathetic is down. Parasympathetics, we tuned it back in. Let's go. Have fun changing tables. Well, it's right next to me right now. So
yeah. I even turned to one mom today. I said, how many eggs have you been eating? Because right in my face.
They get a little stinky. But I've never been, I can't tell you how many moms have prayed for poop, come in here, and the baby just starts pooping, and they're like, what is this magic? And I'm like, it's chiropractic. It's not magic. It's what we were supposed to do. It's above, down, inside out. It's so wonderful. And as a mom who has prayed for poop for their own child, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's a good thing. We're very fortunate to do what we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we're fortunate to have you sharing your information with us today and kind of inspiring everybody so that they can go back after this lunch break and start serving their patients on a bigger, better vision.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And for everybody that's watching, we've got a couple of reminders for you coming up next weekend, not this weekend coming up, but next weekend. We've got Cinco de Chiro. That's going to be on Saturday, May 4th, like May the 4th be with you kind of Saturday. We do this every year. This is our fellowship, philosophy, food, fun, fiesta. Just come by. You got to get registered so we know how many people are coming, but come by and just socialize, just get around other like-minded docs and students and staff and team members. And we've got 4 great speakers, but we also have, some great food and just the opportunity to be with your people. So please get registered, georgiachiropractic.org. This way you can be there and join us and get all the details about that. And then also coming up in June, we have our summer CE. That's going to be at the Atlanta Marriott Perimeter. We've moved. It's not the one right by the Battery. So it is the one that's over by 285 and 400. Mark your calendars for that. You can get all of your continuing ed that you need. This is a renewal year. Even years are renewal years. So you need all your years. All your hours every year. If you did them online last year, you got to do them in person this year. Great lineup of speakers, great information to keep your practice working and grooving in the right direction. Keep you safe, keep you compliant, make sure that you're doing everything right, keep you dipped in the philosophy. So get registered for that one. And then, of course, I have to mention that we have our annual GCC golf tournament coming up. That is our Chiro Cup. So that's coming up on Friday, September 13th at Marietta City Club. This is a new location for us. This is going to be a great location. It will fill out. Registration is already starting to fill up. This will sell out. So please, please, please go to chirocup.com. Get registered. Register a foursome. Register a team. Register your patients. Talk to your patients about this and share this information for us. This helps us raise money for chiropractic research and a public awareness campaign. So all the information is at chirocup.com, or you can also get the information on our website at georgiachiropractic.org. So with that being said, there's a lot of stuff on our website and our social media channels. If you're watching the replay, just drop a little comment down below so that we know. But for this day right here to finish up, Dr. Beth, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. And for everybody else, we'll see you next week right here for GCC's Georgia Chiro Connection. Bye-bye.
Bye.